morning, you guys. It's Jess here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to September's garden tour. Yes, y'all, I know I'm a little bit late. It's literally September 30th today. It is the end of the month, but better late than never. So I am going to give you guys just a quick tour of what I have going on in my front garden bed, as well as some of the containers that I've planted up for fall. This is not going to be a complete garden tour just because I have a lot. When I say a lot going on in the backyard right now, it's a mess. So I will show that to you guys once things calm down just a bit. But let me go ahead and start where I normally do, which is over here in the corner. Here I have two hanging basket planters on my lantern, and in this one I have just a variety of Patio, which is doing okay. It looks like they're starting to kind of fizzle out. These are annuals in my area. I just popped them in here for some fall color. I did also just pop in yesterday some pansies, so they haven't quite perked up yet. I will insert a picture of what they look like so you guys can see their full potential. Down below that I have just a variety of kale planted in here. I can't remember the name off of the top of my head, but I'll insert the name for you guys. I just picked these up because of the stem color. I thought it was really fall-ish. And then down here I still have my daylily. This one is starting to die back for fall. And y'all, I have a new bract that has grown. So since I've planted this up, this one has grown 3 additional bracts. This was the original one back here. That one is starting to die out. Then it grew this one, and now I have a 4th. So super pleased with this plant. Since I've moved it here into the sunnier spot, I think it is getting a little bit sun scorched because the leaves are starting to look a little bit more yellowish and faded. So I will be overwintering this plant, and then when I bring it out next spring, I'll be sure to keep this in a nice shady spot underneath my patio. My little lime is doing pretty well. I have already cut off most of the blooms. I'm going to go back in and cut off the rest of the spent blooms just to cut down on some of my spring chores. But look at that fall color. I love the mauve tone of those blooms. And I still think that even the chocolate chip ajuga, my ground cover down here, that greenish brown tone just looks very fall. You guys did see me plant up my front border here with all of the ornamental cabbage. They are doing great. They are starting to color up just a little bit. So these are the ones that develop a white center. So I cannot wait to see that pop of color. I think it'll tie greatly into the winter. My crotons are still doing amazing. Coleus, you guys, oh my God. And I know y'all are probably tired of hearing me say this, but I have just been so in love with this coleus. It is just continuing to grow taller and taller. Right now we are in the low 80s. I'm in garden zone 7B in North Carolina, so plants are still blooming. Everything is still live and growing, but we typically drop in temperature very quickly. So that will probably take place within the next few weeks or so. My purple fountain grass right here is starting to put out a few more of its blooms, which I'm excited for. It's also getting a little bit more of that purple tint to its leaves. And y'all, now that I'm looking at this, I should have put Rosie in front and then the plant behind it, but oh well, I still think she looks cute in this little corner that she's tucked into. My Japanese anemone is doing okay, you guys. Again, this was planted in my dead zone, well, close to my dead zone. The dead zone is actually right there, but it hasn't died. It's not completely brown. This is exactly what it looked like when I planted it, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it and hopefully it'll come back next spring. My salvia that was tucked down in here is still struggling, so I'm looking forward to those popping up and being fresh next spring. My lungwort back there is doing great, and I am going to step back so you guys can see my lamb's ear is a full ring. My tree is doing amazing. Excited to put Christmas lights on that. My sedum, y'all. Look at this color. Is that not gorgeous? Like, it just looks like a sea of red broccoli. I know that's a weird analogy, but that's what it looks like to me, and I just love the fall color that this sedum has given me. I'm loving the lush green of its stems. Y'all know I love my evergreen backdrops, so loving all of the fall color in this front bed. My mum is starting to finally come into bloom. I made sure to pick up one that barely was starting to bud up, so looking forward to all of those opening, but at least you guys can see what color it will be. So I did also tuck in just a couple of purple mums down here just to fill in some space. And I also have started to put out a few of my pumpkins. Y'all, I know I said I was going to do a whole fall decorate with me. Y'all, work has just become so ridiculous and hectic that I have not had time to even come out here and water my plants. So hopefully I will get to that. I do plan on decorating my door, changing out my wreath. I will be redoing kind of like the plants up there on my patio, which I will run you guys through really quickly. So over here is just one of my containers. I did pop in 2 white mums, which are finally coming into bloom. I think they look so pretty, y'all. Especially at night, you can really see these blooms pop. And then behind that, I have a crepe myrtle. And I did also tuck in just 2 pansies in here yesterday, which hopefully will perk up. Here are my houseplants that I was rehabbing. They are all doing fabulous. Do y'all remember I cut this down completely to the dirt? Like I only had, I think, maybe 2 leaves. And it has just completely rebound here. It is loving the spot on my patio. I have so much new growth. Like, look at that. New leaves just popping out everywhere. I'm so pleased. This is my Stramanthe, still doing great. And then this is a mini Mauvette that I had got on clearance and rehabbed it. So this hopefully will go into the ground next spring. I'm going to keep it in my garage for the summer. I'm sorry, for the winter. My 2 hibiscus trees are doing great. These are the only 2 trees that I will be over-renting in my garage, but it's still putting out buds, y'all. All of my hibiscus are still blooming around the property, which is amazing. The leaves are starting to yellow and die back just a little bit, which lets me know that it's almost time to bring that one inside. This is a little container that I just could not bring myself to pull out the annuals. I'm just so in love with this pink color, even though it's not fall. So this is a Hawaiian tea cordyline. I just tucked in an orange mum down here, and then I still have my orange blooming begonia here, which looks like it's on its way out. This is an annual in my area. And then down here, I just have another Stramanthe, my 2 hydrangeas. I have my Boston fern. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not a Boston fern. That is a macho fern. If you guys like ferns but get annoyed with their shedding, try a macho fern. They don't shed. And then lastly, I have Miss Cleopatra over there. She is starting to die back for fall as well, but I am loving her foliage. I love the colors that her foliage is putting off for fall. So that is the gist of my front garden bed. I really quick am going to show you guys my planters down at the mailbox, and then we'll go around the side of the house. All right, so here we are at my mailbox bed. I didn't do too much here. I literally just swapped out 2 plants. Literally exactly 2. I could not bring myself to pull these Calibrachoa out just because the bees were still all over that. They've still been enjoying them, so I decided to leave those even though they are not fall colors. But I did tuck in a ornamental cabbage here. This one will develop a purplish pink center. And then in the back, I tucked in a yellow marigold just for some color. And then as my centerpiece, I still have my fluffy arborvitae. Then here on the other side, mirrored the same thing. The only difference is this is a different type of ornamental cabbage. This one does also develop a pinkish purple center. And then I tucked in a yellow marigold in this one as well. So yeah, loving all of the color and fall vibes that this is giving. Y'all, I do want to update you on my tree ring. I know you guys saw me build this earlier this year, and y'all, I did not even think about fall when I was building this. So I completely forgot about the idea of leaves falling and getting trapped into the ring. So that will be interesting to deal with when it comes time to rake up the leaves. This tree is starting to color up for fall just a little bit. This entire tree will be fire red, and it drops all of its leaves at the same time, which is nice. So I'm not constantly out here raking and blowing, trying to clean up leaves. It'll just do one big dump, and then hopefully I can get them out of this ring some kind of way. So the only plants that I have left planted in here are my heucheras, which you guys can hardly see because it is a dark-leafed heuchera, and then I also have dog mulch in there. So hopefully next spring I can come up with a new color combination so those colors pop more. My hedge of euonymus that I planted are doing great. Cannot wait to see those put on some size. And then let's walk up to the side of the house here. This is one of my little Limelight trees. It did great. It bloomed. It is completely done blooming, and the blooms have dried up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add this to my list of chores for the fall so that I won't have to do as much spring cleaning. I'm just going to go ahead and snip off all of the blooms ahead of time, so it'll look nice and tidy. All right, and then lastly, here is my Limelight hedge. You guys, please ignore my hose. I told you I have not been out here, so this is just raw state of my garden right now. But y'all, look at the bloom color. So this is what fall looks like for Limelights. They do develop this nice mauve tone tint to their blooms. The leaves are also starting to yellow and die off for fall. All of these hydrangeas are deciduous, which means they drop all of their leaves, and then in the spring they come out with fresh new growth. Y'all, look how tall these are. Like, I'm standing here, I'm only 5'2", and literally my nose comes up to this right here. Look how tall these are. And look how big and massive that bloom is. Like, let me give you guys a perspective. Here's my hand. Look at that. It's crazy. These are definitely way taller than me at this point. And these stems have just gotten so sturdy thanks to my prune job. If you guys have not seen my How to Prune Limelights videos, I have several of them on my channel, so definitely check those out in the spring. So these two right here have been in the ground the longest. That's why they are so sturdy. They literally don't flop at all. But the ones closer towards this end are a little bit newer, and they have flopped quite a bit from all of the rain that we got this year. So I will be going in to trim off most of the blooms so those stems can kind of perk up and strengthen up throughout the winter. This right here is my Endless Summer hydrangea. It bloomed amazing, you guys. It was just covered in blooms. As you guys can see, they are now dried up, and I even love the look of the dried blooms. But this is one of the hydrangeas that you do not prune until right after they're done blooming. I normally just let the blooms naturally fall off, and it just comes back every spring. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I am not going to go into the backyard just because everything is so chaotic, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what fall is looking like in my front garden. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, like it, comment down below, subscribe if you're interested in seeing more from me, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.